In the dark history of humanity, children have emerged whose disturbing and sinister actions have left an indelible mark. These seemingly innocent children hid a macabre and twisted side in their souls. From the infamous case of Mary Bell, the girl murderer from the United Kingdom, to the chilling story of Joshua Phillips, the boy who murdered her neighbor, these little demons showed that evil knows no age limits. Let's go. But first, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell. Let's get started. Jesse Pomeroy. This is known for being one of the most notorious juvenile delinquents in history. He was born on November 29, 1859 in Massachusetts, United States. Although he committed several crimes, his most infamous crime was a series of murders and mutilations of children. In the 1870s, when he was between 11 and 14 years old, Jesse Pomeroy began attacking and abusing boys younger than him. His first known act occurred in 1872, when he stabbed and mutilated a 7-year-old boy on a beach. From that point on, he continued his pattern of violence and sadism. In 1874, Pomeroy kidnapped and murdered a 4-year-old girl named Horace Millen. He took her to a stable, where he beat, stabbed and mutilated her body. Pomeroy subsequently committed another similar murder, this time of a 10-year-old girl named Katie Curran. He lured her to her shoe store, where he tortured and murdered her. Jesse Pomeroy's crimes caused great panic in the Boston community, and the police began to investigate thoroughly. Finally, in 1874, Pomeroy was arrested and put on trial. Despite his young age, he was tried as an adult due to the severity of his crimes, and sentenced to life in prison. He spent most of his life in prison, facing abuse and isolation due to the heinous nature of his crimes. He was paroled in 1917 at age 58, after spending more than 40 years behind bars. After his release, Jesse murdered another girl who lived in his neighborhood. Her body was found in the basement of the Pomeroy family home. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and solitary confinement. He died at 73 in a psychiatric hospital. The case of Jesse Pomeroy has been studied by psychologists and criminologists, and has generated debates about psychopathy and violence in young people. His heinous crimes and disturbing behavior make him one of the most infamous juvenile delinquents in history, where to this day, he has had no comparison with anyone. Maria Bell, born on May 26, 1957 in Newcastle upon Tyne, England, she is known for the crimes she committed at a very young age. At age 11, she along with a 13-year-old friend named Norma Joyce Bell, to whom she was not related despite their common surname, Mary Bell, carried out the murders that shocked the United Kingdom in 1968. The first murder occurred on May 25, 1968, when Mary and Norma strangled 4-year-old Martin Brown. The body was found in an abandoned building near his house. The death was initially attributed to an accident, but it was later revealed that the girls had been responsible. The second murder took place on July 31, 1968. On this occasion, Mary Bell and Norma strangled 3-year-old Brian Howe in an open field. After the murder, Mary used a sharp object to cut the initials, M, into Brian's stomach and inflicted wounds on other parts of his body. They also mutilated his hair and tore off part of his skin. Mary Bell's crimes were discovered due to her disturbing behavior and comments she made to other children, hinting at her involvement in the murders. Additionally, Mary enjoyed manipulating and tormenting other children, which raised suspicions about her disruptive behavior. During the trial, Mary Bell was found guilty of the murders and Norma was acquitted of the charges. Mary spent several years in a juvenile detention center and was released in 1980 at the age of 23. Since then, she has lived under protected identities and has stayed out of the public eye. But the reality for Mary Bell is that she suffered continuous abuse from her non-biological father and her mother. This one forced her to sexually intimidate a client, since she was a prostitute. The court found that her family was responsible for her atrocious and bloodthirsty behavior. And wait, before continuing, remember to subscribe, activate the bell and leave your like on the video. But continue. The case of John Venables and Robert Thompson. This is one of the most shocking and tragic crimes in UK history. On February 12, 1993, in Liverpool, England, John Venables and Robert Thompson, both just 10 years old, kidnapped James Bulger, a 2-year-old boy, from a shopping center. The two boys took James through the city, torturing and brutally beating him in the process. He was reportedly hit with heavy objects, had paint thrown in his eyes and kicked repeatedly. Later, they left his body on the train tracks so that he could be run over and it would look like an accident. The crime caused great shock and horror in British society. Images of the two boys captured by security cameras before committing the murder were widely disseminated in the media, leading to their identification and arrest. John Venables and Robert Thompson were tried in November 1993 in juvenile court. They served their time in juvenile detention centers and were released on parole in 2001, after serving approximately 8 years in prison. They were given new identities to protect their safety and reintegrate into society. Despite their young age, they were deemed to understand the seriousness of their actions and were found guilty of murder. They became the youngest offenders to be convicted of murder in UK history. The crime committed by Eric Smith is extremely disturbing and heartbreaking. After hitting and killing 4-year-old Derek Roby with a rock on August 2, 1993, Smith carried out even more macabre actions. After murdering Derek, Eric Smith sexually abused the boy's corpse. These additional details revealed during the trial further compounded the heinous nature of his crime and caused a huge impact on the community and the public at large. The sentence handed down by the court imposed the highest possible penalty for juvenile murders at the time, a total of 9 years in prison. Eric stated that he suffered bullying from the children at school and even from his father and his sister, leaving the country shocked with the news. Joshua Phillips. He is known for committing a heinous crime at a very young age. In 1998, when he was 14 years old, Phillips murdered 8-year-old Maddie Clifton in Jacksonville, Florida. On November 6, 1998, Joshua Phillips and Maddie Clifton, who were neighbors, were playing at Phillips' house. During an altercation, Phillips hit Maddie with a baseball bat, causing her death. After realizing what he had done, he hid Maddie's body in her mattress and lied about her whereabouts to the police and the community for a week. When Maddie's body was finally discovered in Joshua's hideout, he was arrested and charged with murder. During his trial in 1999, Joshua Phillips claimed that he had accidentally hit Maddie while they were playing, which was all unintentional, causing Maddie to faint, but that he had panicked and hit her out of fear of her consequences. However, the jury did not accept his version and found him guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thanks for joining us. Remember, like, share your comments and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories. See you later.